Hello, everyone, and welcome to FET Rewind. This is where we are going to be revisiting some of our past topics that we have discussed on the show, and also we are going to listen back to our response to see do we still agree with what we said back then. So this is FET Rewind. So welcome everyone. Now, before we get started, how are you guys doing on today? Andrew, Coach D, are you guys fine?
Oh yeah, I'm good, man. I'm
All right.
just
I'm doing great.
That's
I'm doing
great.
fantastic.
That's great
Um,
to hear.
before we get into that, before we actually go into FPT Rewind, for those of you, this may be a similar segment. If you watched if you watched Let's Fight About Education on during season two, also did a rewind of it as well, but my concept was a little bit different from this rewind. So, for those of you that have listened to Let's Talk About Education season two, this may be um, a similar concept, but this can be totally different.
Yes. So let's get started, you guys, with our first FET rerun, which is we are going way back, you guys, to season one. And this is where, it's just, just me and Andrew at the start. And I feel like because I listened back, to season one, and I feel like we were just, we were, starting out, we were brand new to this. And I feel like with me, I was like just a baby of just starting out because if you guys can tell, my voice has really changed from season one until now because back then I was like because Andrew during our first season he was doing all the talking and I remember he tried to keep pushing me to to speak out and I would just you guys could like barely hear me in the first beginning but now like I'm really using my voice. I'm talkative. I'm saying whatever. So I just feel like back then that was like I hate listening to myself back then because it just sounds weird. But back in season one, you guys, there was only about 10 episodes, and we had discussed a lot in our first season. And back then we had discussed like many topics in one episode because now we just do like either one or two. And back then we did like probably about like 4 to 5, maybe six perhaps. And our very first topic was episode two, which was classroom management. And we gave our take, what classroom management, means to us, and then what type of techniques that we will be using inside of our classroom. So let's take a listen back to what we thought classroom management was when we first started out, shall we? So I'm gonna let you guys take a listen to this. Then we're gonna come back to give our response to see do we still agree with what we said or has things changed? So let's pull this up now. Here we go, right here, our classroom management. We are discussing it for the very first time on the show. All right. Can you guys see this? I just want to
Mm-hmm.
make sure. Okay, perfect. All right. Let's begin. So let's move on to our next topic, which is classroom management.
All right. Take it away, Mr. Anderson. What are your thoughts on
Oh,
classroom
here you
management?
go again. Gonna put me on the spot again, aren't you?
I'm trying to break the shy shell out of you.
Alrighty then. Well, what I think on classroom management, it simply refers to a wide variety of skills and techniques that teachers should use to ensure that their classroom should run very smoothly and swiftly without any disruptive behavior from their students. So that's what I think classroom management, that's what I think my thoughts on classroom management is.
Yeah, many teachers use different techniques for their classroom
Mhm.
management, but I like an article on Edutopia. I don't know if I'm saying it right, where it said that teachers can greet students at the door to set a positive tone for the day. So I kind of like that because, you know, you got to have a positive uh, right off the bat.
Exactly.
Of course, you got to, once you spread positivity to your students,
Mhm.
you're good to go.
Mhm.
They will have a great day. You will have a great day. So, yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. I absolutely love that idea. And absolutely think that would help build a relationship with your students as well.
Yeah. And plus, do flexible seating as well because you don't want your classroom to be oh, like boring. You want to be
Yes,
exciting,
yes, and that's what I want my classroom to be like. Like once my students step in, like
Mhm.
be enjoyable, like exciting, like they want to come in there every single day and not be all
Yeah.
dull and
Yeah.
boring and stuff like that. So, yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. So, yeah, listen to my voice there. Listen to my voice there.
Oh
To like both
man.
of us. Ugh.
Mm,
So,
mm,
Let me just
yeah.
be cringe.
mm,
Be
mm,
cringe. Okay. Listen, my voice was so country.
mm,
I'm cringing at the moment.
Yeah.
So
mhm,
Yeah.
mm,
And look how
mm,
far we have come now, Andrew.
mm,
Oh, so you guys,
mm.
let's start with you, Andrew. Do you still agree with what you said back then, with classroom management?
of course, because I'm a substitute teacher now. So yes. Um, what I said back then, I'm doing it now. I greet um, I greet every student in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I also say good morning to the students before I start class, and I may have to say it again because some of them,
Mhm,
in
Yeah.
case they're not paying attention.
mhm,
And from there, I kind of like introduce myself. I'll be like, well, obviously, I'm not your teacher. Okay. I'm not, okay. And then introduce myself, go through, it's introduce myself. No, it's good morning to the class, introduce myself. And then I do quote of the day. So I think for my very first day, I had the quote of the day for the entire day until my third slash my fourth day of subbing. I decided to switch it up to do quote of the day for each period. So for next year, well, for this upcoming year, I'm going to do it for each period. Um, because I feel like because the reasoning behind it is when I was subbing at one middle school, I had the class to I had one class to choose a motivation quote for the next class. So they picked out the quote and I was like, okay, cool. That's fine. So and then I read that quote to the students. So that is that still stands. It is still stands of what I said 2 years ago, 2 to 3 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, that was back in 2019, August 17. And with me, yeah, I still agree with what I said too back then. And then also, as you guys can see in the second episode of our first season, I said that I will keep saying it onto this podcast here because it is very true that I mentioned every teacher need to build, that positive relationship with their students. And I said it at the very beginning with you guys. I
Mm-hmm.
said it. So
Mm-hmm.
that means something because especially we're still in this pandemic, and then we're about to go into the next school year, and teachers, and my belief on this here is that you need to start at the start of the school year at the first month. Do not try to wait until at the end of the school year because what are you doing? You have been wasting your time of trying to have that relationship with your students, which you could have had it at the very start. Because you and that student, it's rough. It's going to be a rough year if you don't have that bond. Don't you guys agree? It's going to be very rough.
Mm-hmm.
So I think every teacher needs to have this, need to do this at the start. So, Coach, what are your thoughts, opinions of what we had said back then? Do you agree with us? And also, what's your take on that as well, classroom management?
Um, yeah, I'm being yeah. I agree with everything that y'all said. I mean, I've been very consistent with it. I mean, so there's no need to what's the word I'm looking for? Disagree or go back and forth or state a different opinion because at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Y'all have been accurate with it. And so, what people need to realize is that classroom management is really not difficult. It's just like you said, how you come across to your children. I mean, at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, if you decide you want to wait late to build relationships with children, you're going to have a problem. But you have to let them know from the beginning, this is your classroom. This is
Mm-hmm.
how we're going to do things. And if you can abide by those simple, rules, then it's not going to be a great year for you. Because at the end of the day, I'm not going to sit here and have to continue to say, be quiet, do this. Hold on, I got to write you up on a referral because you're not paying attention and stuff like that. We're going to go by my rules. This is my house, this is my domain. So if you can't respect my house or my domain, we can make it very, very easy for you, which means you just won't be in here. I mean, education has how many teachers? So therefore, if you can't abide by my rules, then maybe you can go somewhere else and, abide by their rules or cut up or do whatever you need to do. But that's tiring, man. When you have to
Mm-hmm.
continuously tell a child to keep doing something over and over again
I
because they're
know.
not wanting to follow what you want to do in your classroom, that can get very tiring. That can become stressful. And now we got to sit up here and deal with what's the word we look for? Our mental illness now because this child keeps doing the same thing over and over. And now I have to go to work, you know what I'm saying, having to stress out because I know if Tim comes to class today, we're going to have the same
Same
issue.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, man, like they said, they say that, they want you to really, they basically said that classroom management is a term teachers use to describe the process of ensuring that classroom lessons run smoothly without disruptive behavior from students compromising the delivery of the instruction.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they said.
Yeah.
But then it goes back to what y'all said too. Is it boring? Am I getting any differential instruction going on, or am I just sitting here listening to you talk all day? And if I'm listening to you talk all day, then yeah, I'm gonna be disruptive, right? Because you can't just lecture children all day. You
Yes.
can't. That becomes a habit. Now it's gonna be a little disruptive because it's like, all right, come, excuse me, Miss Lisa, you do this every day. You do this every day. You don't give us no time to interact. You don't give us no time to interact with the lesson. You lecture us all day, and then when we start beating on our desk or hit the doing all this stuff, now you want to get mad. Did you ever think to say, okay, let me rewind. Let me see why my kids are doing what they're doing. Oh, and the light bulb came on because I'm not letting them be engaged in class.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go, right there. So in order to get your classroom management together, start letting your kids be more engaged in class. That's why they're at school, to learn, not for you to lecture them all day. They didn't do it to us in college. They didn't lecture us all day. They let us participate, right? You get a grade for participation, right? 25, 50%. Like, can I get my 25 or 50% for participating? And I guarantee you, if you let us do this, you won't hear a peep out of me. Because I'm too busy engaging into the conversation, engaging into the subject, especially if it's a subject that I love.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree with y'all. And I just added that piece of the pie right there so people can understand.
Yes.
And funny enough, that because one day I was subbing at a middle school and I was there early. You know, I was there at 10:30. I wasn't supposed to get there till like an hour later, but you know, I decided to get there early. Right. So I sat in the teacher's classroom because she didn't leave until 11:30. And I just sat there and I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, her classroom is boring. You know, her students is on the computer. Okay. You know, all the stuff is on computer, you know, Google Classroom. But I'm like, but they're not interacting. They're not, yeah, they're doing assignments on Google Classroom, but it's like, it's not interacting. Like, I think they were learning about the Earth, the outer sphere, the core. I'm just like, okay, all right. And, you know how subs, you know, we're supposed to follow the sub plans. Yeah. I did follow, okay, let's just say I did follow the sub plans, okay? Because on the paper it said work independently. They're supposed to work independently. But, you know, I decided, I was like, you know what? Because I don't like quietness in a classroom. I don't know what it is, but I just don't like quietness. Like, it's too quiet. You know, I don't mind if the students talk, but like not too loud. I just don't like it when it's quiet. You know? So I said to them, I was like, well, I'm gonna give you until like 125 or 120 to work independently, you know, by yourself. You know, and I decided to extend the time to 1:30. And then at 1:30, I decided, you know, I was like, you know what? Y'all can work together with the people that is beside the table, beside you, because I think that's the only way that's the only way that students will learn, if they interact by helping each other out. Not staying in your seat all day and doing assignments and boring. Like that. Who wants to sit at their desk all day typing? Who wants to do that? Nobody.
I do. No, I'm just playing.
But still, I was like, no, this is my classroom.
Right.
I'm like, this is my classroom from now on, because this is how I'm going to run things here. Even though this is her classroom, my classroom as of today.
Yeah.
So I'm going to run this classroom as if I was the teacher. I might be a sub, but this is going to be my classroom for the day. So yes, I did allow students to work together. Yes, I did that. Because I don't see what's the point of working independently.
I can dig it.
But I think the reason why is because I think the teacher will be like, they'll overpower me. But listen, I'm gonna shut it down real quick. I already told you my methods. This is where your classroom management comes in handy. Because you got a bag of tricks to use. Use them. I used the Marco Polo method. It works every time.
That Marco Polo.
I was going to use the 1738, but many students don't know that one. So let me use the Marco Polo.
I like it.
Oh. Okay.
So, yeah. All right, you guys. Now we are going to move on to some of our classroom management techniques that me and Andrew had gave. And Andrew, he gave, his take on it. And then with me, I gave lots of what we potentially will be using inside of our classroom. So we're going to listen back to it and we're going to see, are we still going to use those type of techniques that we gave into our classroom? So let's take a listen, shall we?
Let's discuss some management strategies then.
All right.
So,
All right.
what are some things that you would like to use in your classroom?
If I was teaching elementary, I'll probably do the clap the clap twice. Like if you can hear me, clap once. If you can hear me twice, clap twice. That's probably what I'm gonna do. If I'm teaching elementary. For middle school and high school, I would probably talk to myself because they're gonna think I'm crazy, but I'm not really crazy. I'm just trying to, get their attention,
Yeah.
So I feel like if I do that, I think they're gonna pop down. What about you?
And this is called a secret symbol. And this is perfect for students that are very impulsive and they do not think about their actions before they do them. So basically, you would meet with the student one-on-one, and the two of you will decide or discuss on some kind of a secret symbol that you can use to get their attention when they are, misbehaving, rather than, calling them out, in front of, their, in the entire class. And, it can be something, like super simple, like, like pulling on their hair or, like scratching their hair or doing some kind of a handshake or, like whatever, it's between you and the student. So, students will love this because it's something secret and special just between the two of you. And it's a great way to build a relationship with them while also curbing their impulsive behavior. Now, the best part about this is that you can do this with multiple students at the same time, because you can have a different symbol for each of your students, but they will still think it's something special just between you and them. So that is my classroom management I would like to use in my classroom. So
we gave our take on it. Andrew, let's start with you. You agree with what you said, and will you be using them inside of your own classroom, or are you going to be doing something a little different?
I'm going to be using something different. Change my mind on this one. I'm going to be still going to use the Marco Polo method. Like I said before, I stopped at elementary school before, and I used the Marco Polo method. So that works. So I'm going to stick to what I've already used. I'm going to stick with it. The talking to myself method, I'm not going to use that. I am not going to use that. That's out the window. What you said, pulling my hair. Yeah, that's for me too. Definitely not going to use that. So in this case, I will not be using any of those classroom methods because I've already I've already used one, and I will be continue to use that when I actually become a teacher. So.
Yep. With me, yes, I am. With one of them because I gave probably like 3 on that episode, but I just joined out to 1. With that secret symbol, I'm going to use that into my classroom to where, and then, you guys saw this, and then we had him on the show, David Jameson, with that viral video of him, doing the handshakes with his students. I'm going to be doing something like that, something similar, quite that line, with all of my students. And it's going to be something, like very different with each one of them. And for me, it's going to be, like special for them. Because like I said, it's going to be, between just the two of us. It's not going to be between anyone else, just between, just the two of us. And I love that. And see, like I said there, you have that relationship with your student. And right. Also, I'm thinking back to my junior teacher, English teacher. She did this all the time, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. I thought it was just so funny back then, but every time that, we will always get, loud or disrupt her while she's doing a lesson in class, she would just stop all of a sudden in her class. She would just stop and she would just stare around and she would say, all right, are you guys finished? Because you guys are wasting your own time. You guys are not wasting my time. I got all the degrees, blah, blah, this and that. So I could potentially not be here because I have my education. Do you guys? And I was like, I'm definitely going to be doing that in my classroom, giving my spin on that. And yeah. So that's what I'm going to use. Coach D, you have any techniques that you use in your classroom you like to share?
Man, listen, I already told y'all. And Andrew already told you how I get down. I don't use no techniques. My voice is simply gonna get them in order.
Oh, yes.
Am I lying, Andrew? I don't use no techniques, Damien. I'm being so serious, bro. That's not sounding arrogant or cocky or nothing like that, bro. Like once I say, yo.
Yeah.
That's it.
And absolutely with me as well at my job, because I work with children, everybody recognizes my voice and I yell. And as soon as I yell, everybody just stops and just looks at me because they know what's up, because we have all these other teachers there. They don't be listening, but as soon as I use my voice, they all stop because they know I mean business. I don't care. And they're all young. I'm young too, but they get me. It's like, you need to stop. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be doing that in my class. Yeah, use my voice. Yeah. Because that stops everything.
Yeah. But don't use it to the point where you gotta use it to an excessive level. You understand what I'm saying? Like Andrew will tell you, it took one time. Hey, you notice that? That's it. It ain't no, hey, be. Oh no. We're not gonna do that. Because see, once you start doing that, they already know they got you. So it's like, oh well, we know. He get loud or she get loud, so all we gotta do is just do one little thing, and we know that it's gonna go up. Like we said, establish who's the boss, who classrooms it is on the first day. Establish that, and like I said, you ain't gotta come at them all vulgar or like you the boss or nothing like that. But respect them, they respect you, right? But at the end of the day, this is my class. We can do this 2 ways. We can have a great semester. Or you can pull me to be somebody that you really don't want me to be. And when you pull me to that point, I'm going to get the last laugh.
That part.
Yeah. Establish it. Establish ground rules and know how to talk to your students. You got to know who you're dealing with, too. I think a lot of teachers don't realize that you got to know who you're dealing with. All right? I'm not racist. I tell people this all the time, but we know the difference between interracial school. We know a difference at a black school. We know a difference at a private school. We know a difference at a public school.
Yeah.
Them teachers know who they can talk to, but then you might have to go a little ghetto sometimes because that's all them kids probably know. But if you're at a private school, you can be posture and you can talk in this type of tone, and your kids will understand when you say, "Billy, be quiet," and they're like, "Okay," right? Mm-hmm. But in a school that's in the hood, Billy, be quiet. No, that ain't going. No. Hey, yo, Billy, check this out. Check this out, Billy. I've already told you once. Now, if I got to tell you again, there's really gonna be some issues in here. So I'm really trying to refrain. from having to go there with you. Now Billy over there like this here now, because you know he like, oh, okay, like I ain't finna push Mr. Anderson or Mr. Fred or Coach, because like they get with me. You right. But we gotta know what we're dealing with. And when we get into these other episodes, especially about the preparing teachers in these educational programs, we'll put y'all on game to know your role, know what you really want to teach. Because if you don't want to teach in the inner city, stop putting on the front like, oh yeah, I'm all about the kids and you can put me there.
Are you really?
No, because you're gonna be saying next year I retire. I don't want to do this no more.
But like, oh, what happened? What happened? I thought you were gonna be here next year.
Right. But that's another episode. We're not gonna do this. We're only talking about classroom management. We're not gonna talk about this right now. We're not going to talk about Dame. Come on, let's keep it going.
Yes, you guys, and Sally. Yes, we are out of time for today, you guys. So yes, we will keep you guys posted on that episode right there. So, we are going to be doing you guys all season long, and of course into the next season as well with our FET Rewind of us revisiting some of our past lovely old topics that we have discussed on the show. Like this here, you guys, was a good topic. And then also, you guys, because we have discussed some very, hard topics that me and Andrew, I believe there's it was in season 2, which is next week, you guys. We have gotten to like our first, a disagreement on the show ever. And which is fine. That was totally fine. Like we said, we keep mentioning earlier on, you guys, into, this show, that it's okay if we have different perspective, you guys, as long as the end of the day, because at the end of the day, we're all still family. Okay. It doesn't matter, what kind of topic we're talking about. We may, agree, we may disagree, but we'll hear each other out. At least we do that. We don't, like you wrong about this. We don't do that on this show here. This is not what the show is about. It's about bringing together. This is a safe space. We could talk about whatever we want to. We hear each other out. So until next time, you guys, we are your lovely hosts, Damien, Andrew, and Coach D. And we will see you guys next week for another FET Rewind. So you guys take care of yourself and see you guys next week. Peace out.
No.